Well, good morning, everyone. This is my routine, my ritual. This is my life. I wake up in the morning and walk outside and look at the pond, look at the sky, look at the trees, look at my new, my new chill spot I'm forming over there by the log. All the little things that we do. And I came out this morning and I started thinking about routines and how easy it is to get caught up in what I call the treadmill of daily life. And it's been wearing on me lately. You know, from the standpoint or perspective of a person who has, let's say a person who lives in an apartment, and let's say they're watching this video right now and seeing that I have a house and a yard, and saying, man, I wish I had my own yard so I could plant a garden and, have my own space. And then let's say that they do, person finally gets their house, because I was that person. I was the guy who lived in an apartment and then rented a house, then lived in a motel for a while, and then we finally bought a property. But anyway, no matter, when I look back, I guess 12 years ago or so when we bought this place, it was so new and exciting. The pond that you're looking at was about a quarter of the size, and I dug it out bigger and, made my yard the way I wanted it, and fixed my house up and remodeled it, and all this stuff was new and fresh and great. And then as the years passed, it just kind of becomes the usual. You're just accustomed to it. It's almost, I guess I could use children in the same example. When my 5-year-old came into this world, it was big new excitement. We have another baby, and now we have more things to deal with and keep us occupied. And just as he became, started to learn how to talk and function, then along comes our other one, who's 2 now, and, that's kept things exciting too. But eventually, it always falls back to daily life. And that routine, whether you have kids, whether you have a house, whether you have a job, all these routines start to wear on us over time. And we learn that we need excitement, we need variety, we need to break it up. The monotony becomes, it doesn't matter what you do. I was thinking about, for some reason, prisoners of war came to mind, and I thought about how, from the perspective of someone looking from the outside, they might think, how can a person live for years in captivity and still keep their sanity? And I'm not saying that being a prisoner of war is a great thing, or you can enjoy it by any means, but rather that you become accustomed to it. There's a word for it where people become almost sympathetic with their handlers when they're, say, kidnapped and whatnot. Totally different from being a prisoner of war, but what I'm saying is that our minds learn to just cope with whatever we have going on. If our life is suffering, we learn to cope with that suffering, and it just becomes part of life. If we have everything we want, that just becomes part of life. And when that's broken, when that chain is broken, for a lot of people, when something happens that takes them away from their comfort zone, it can be devastating. Because, and I've learned this because by watching how I was as a kid, as well as my friends, and how when something happened, we'd say, oh well, just, cool, move on and do something different. But now, as you get older, you start to become comfortable in your life, and this is the comfort zone that many of the, say the baby boomers have about, living the white picket fence lifestyle, and how now today everything's just, quote, too crazy, and, but really it's no crazier than it's ever been. It's just a different perspective, and people are able to see more at once. So we see more of what we could have, or what we want, or what we want to do, but really what it comes down to, it's not about doing stuff or having anything. It's just about breaking up the routine, the monotony, It could be as simple as getting up and taking a walk somewhere you don't usually go, or maybe even just taking a different road to work. And I know that sounds crazy, but those are the things that keep life interesting. And life is pretty damn interesting anyway, but but I'm getting ready in about 6 days. I'm going down to Soak. It's the Burning Man Festival here down in Oregon. It's the regional Burning Man, and I'm going there for 4 or 5 days with my friend, and we're going to camp out and party. And that's going to be my way of segueing into the summer, I guess, to try to break up the monotony for a few days and kind of bust my routine up and say, And the one thing I've learned is that, and this is, I guess, what I should try to convey most importantly, although we yearn for change and we look for something different in our daily life, it doesn't mean that we want to change the way things are. What we need is just a reminder that the way things are work for us. An example would be, if we tend to think things, let's say we have a very comfortable, normal schedule with our job, and then it gets broken up and we have to do something else for a while. We may not enjoy it, but it breaks up that monotony and gives us a perspective on what we already had. Let's say that you're doing fine with money and then you go broke for a while. That gives you a perspective on $20 again. I'm sure there's lots of you out there who have had a good job at one time in your life where you were making pretty good money, and then all of a sudden, a couple of years later, you look back and go, what happened? Maybe you're just scraping by to where you could go blow $100 and it's nothing, but the next week you got $20 and it's everything. And for me, that's just life, the spice of life, having that variety. But I never want to get too comfortable with what I have or what I think I have. But we do, because we're human, So I guess the only way that we can really get over the treadmill effect is to plan things to do. It goes back to what I talked about vacationing before, and mini vacations, and that's exactly, those are the important things. I guess I'll leave you with this. Think back. What's the last thing you can remember doing within the last week or the week before that? And it will usually be something where you went somewhere that you're not used to going, where you went to maybe a park to take a walk, or even just walked up to the park down the street, or anything, These are the things we remember because they're different than the treadmill effect. So, hope you all have a great day, and try to remember that sometimes things just become boring. And it's up to us to bring the excitement back and change the routine. Namaste, peeps.